Today we're going to be working on headlight wiring for a Wr450, and we're going to make it work with the Tusk switch. Alright, so here it is all pulled apart. All I did was unbolt the headlight and pull it down. Okay, so I've kind of started working on it, but I'll explain to you what I'm doing. So I have this Tusk switch, this off, low, high, but I never had it hooked up because I just had left the stock wiring hooked up. Out of the wiring harness that comes down right here, it comes down right from the switch, is right here. It runs down from the switch and then out of this harness here, and then here's just the wiring harness for all the turn signals and stuff, so we don't need to worry about that. This is the lighting stuff. So you have a ground, and then you've got this one. The white one is your low beam and the blue one's your high beam, and this is even the stock bulb that comes in it. And so all I've done so far is I put some connectors on there. I decided to make the video after I already started, but here's the plug. If you look, that top one right there is actually, oh, that one's actually the low beam, so it's just always on high beam. So you've got your ground, which is this black wire, and then you got your high beam. Well, the black is gonna go to this. On here, on the back of your headlight, you got 3 prongs. This one is your ground, this one is, the middle one's your low beam, and the right one is your high beam. So I plugged the white one from the harness to your low beam, and the blue one from the harness to this right one for your high beam. This is looking at the back of the headlight as if it was upright. Then what I'm going to do is wire my power. So from this plug right here, I want my ground to go to the ground on this. So I'm going to wire that to that prong. And then the power, I'm going to wire to the negative on my wiring harness for my Tusk switch. The flow of power comes from here, goes through the negative up to this switch, and then when it's off, they're all disconnected. When it's on low, it connects. The power comes back down through the white wire, through your low, and then it needs a ground, so I'll connect the ground from the stock harness, and that's where your power will flow back out of this ground out. When it's on low, it'll go through the low wire and connect this one, and then when it's on the high, it'll connect the high one. The way that I'm connecting these is I went to the auto parts store and I bought these little connectors. Should have got waterproof ones. Maybe I'll waterproof it later, but the yellow ones I found are the best size that fit on the back of these prongs here. They're wide enough. And then on this Tusk wiring kit that I got for my street legal kit, these pins are a little bit too big to fit in here, but I found if you take some pliers, see if you can kind of see how I've squished it together, and then when you put this on, it just goes, it goes right in there. And then once I get it, push it in, it fits pretty snug, but I'm going to get a pair of pliers on here and crimp this down just to make sure it holds in, and then you're good. Then you can just slide them right onto there. And then I also got for the other ends that I'm going to be plugging into the, so I can keep the stock wiring, so if I ever decide to take this off, or anybody does, you can just plug the stock wiring back in. I got these little, the opposite, the male connectors, and same thing. I'm just gonna put the thing in. I like to keep it so I can go back to stock if I ever decide to. I don't like chopping wires. So I'll do that, and then I'll get some electrical tape or something to waterproof it. So I've made this connector. Pretty much a female to a male connector is the only piece you'll need to make besides adding these spade connectors to this. So this one I just made to jump the ground from the main wiring harness, the Yamaha wiring harness. I'm going to go from the ground here. Sorry, I got to hold my camera because I don't have a tripod yet. So put that there. I'm going to go straight from that. Anyway, I'll plug that in a second. And then this one's going to go on the negative one over here. And that's simple. So I got everything wired up now. I put electrical tape around the white and the ones because these are positives. So when the light's on, I didn't want anything bumping into them. I know electrical tape's kind of ghetto, but I usually do heat shrinks, but I didn't have any that fit on here, so electrical tape will have to do. I just plug those on to here like this. Boom. This one's ground. This black one that goes straight from the wiring harness onto the ground here. Boom. Okay. So black wire on here goes straight to the left one on your headlight. This way's up. So black. I just made this jumper wire here. Goes across there, and then your positive goes up to the switch. One of the black wire on the switch. And then you got your white wire from the switch coming down and going into the middle one, and your blue wire from the switch going to the right one. Or your high beam of the switch, the low beam of the switch, and then your ground. So that should be it. Now we start her up and see how it works.